If you were a wild animal, trusting a human would probably be the last decision you would ever make. For millions of years, every instinct in your body has been shaped by one simple rule: stay away, run, survive. Now imagine something that should never happen. You've been trapped for hours. The ropes around your body grow tighter every time you move. Your heart is racing. You're exhausted. Then, you hear footsteps. Someone is coming. Every instinct tells you exactly what this means. A predator has found you. This is how it ends. But instead, the human kneels down, not to catch you, not to hurt you. Slowly, it reaches toward the ropes. A knife appears. The first strand falls away, then another, and another. For a moment, you stop struggling. Not because you trust the human, not because you're calm, but because something no longer makes sense. This predator isn't acting like a predator. And here's the strange part. This isn't just one unusual story. It has happened to whales, foxes, birds, seals, dolphins, even elephants, again and again and again. So what is actually happening inside the animal's mind? Can a wild animal really understand that a human is trying to save its life? Or is something far more fascinating happening that we've been misunderstanding all along? At first, the answer seems obvious. The animal sees the human helping. The animal understands what's happening. The animal stops fighting. Simple. Except there's one enormous problem with that explanation. To understand that a human is trying to help, an animal would first need to understand something almost impossible. Intentions, not actions. Intentions. Think about it. You can watch someone cut a rope, but you can't actually see why they're doing it. Even humans get this wrong all the time. We misjudge strangers. We misunderstand friends. Sometimes we mistake kindness for danger, and danger for kindness. So expecting a wild animal to instantly understand the hidden intention inside a human mind would be an extraordinary claim. Scientists have spent decades studying exactly this question. And so far, there's surprisingly little evidence that wild animals can directly understand human intentions the way we do. Instead, they seem to rely on something much older, something evolution has been refining for millions of years. They don't ask, is this human trying to help me? They ask something much simpler. Does this creature behave like a predator or not? And that tiny difference changes everything. Imagine you're watching this rescue from above. You can't hear what the human is thinking. Neither can the animal. All it can see is movement. At first, every signal looks familiar. A large creature is walking straight toward it, exactly what a predator would do. But then, something changes. The human slows down. It doesn't chase. It doesn't lunge. It doesn't corner the animal. It avoids direct eye contact. Its movements become careful, predictable, almost hesitant. To us, those details hardly seem important. But to a wild animal, they can mean everything, because predators follow patterns. A wolf doesn't suddenly stop attacking to gently untangle a branch. A cougar doesn't carefully avoid causing pain. For millions of years, animals have survived by recognizing those patterns. Not by asking, what is this creature thinking? But by asking, does its behavior match the behavior of something that usually kills me? And sometimes, for the first time in that animal's life, the answer becomes no. That doesn't mean the animal suddenly trusts the human. It means something much smaller and much more powerful. Its brain pauses, just for a moment. The ancient survival algorithm no longer knows what prediction to make. If that were the whole story, every rescue would end the same way. The animal would freeze. The danger would pass. And the moment it was free, it would disappear. Sometimes that's exactly what happens. A deer released from a fence bolts into the forest without looking back. A seal slips into the ocean within seconds. A hawk spreads its wings and vanishes into the sky. From an evolutionary perspective, that's exactly what we should expect. Distance is safety. The farther away from a human, the better. But then, there are the cases that refuse to fit that pattern. A humpback whale remains beside the boat for several long moments after the last rope is removed. An elephant reaches out with its trunk before walking away. A dolphin circles back toward the diver who just freed it. None of these animals had to stay. None of them gained anything by coming closer. So, what were they doing? Were they saying thank you? Or were scientists looking at something much more subtle, something that looks like gratitude, but may actually be something entirely different? So, do wild animals actually know when a human is helping them? The most honest scientific answer is probably not. At least, not in the way humans understand helping. A whale doesn't need to understand compassion. A fox doesn't need to understand kindness. A bird doesn't need to understand generosity. What they seem to understand is something much simpler, something evolution has been teaching for millions of years. Most predators behave in predictable ways. They chase, they corner, they injure, they kill. But every once in a while, an animal encounters something it has probably never experienced before. A creature that approaches without attacking, touches without harming, stays close without becoming a threat. For a brain built entirely around survival, that is an extraordinary event. Some animals leave immediately, some hesitate, some remember, and a few may even begin to recognize that not every human brings the same outcome. Not because they understand human morality, but because experience changes expectations. Perhaps that's the most remarkable part of all. The greatest mystery was never whether animals understand us. The real mystery is how quickly they can learn that sometimes the most dangerous creature on Earth does something completely unexpected. It chooses to save a life